Congratulations, Kate, new Emerald Coach, so awesome. Woo! And Michelle, congratulations, girl. Congrats, Erica. I know you worked hard, girl. New Emerald. And all of our awesome coaches on the leaderboard. Yay! Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Congratulations to every one of you guys who rank advanced your business. Your new Emeralds activating your business centers. So huge, so awesome. Super proud of you. I hope that your whole organization is celebrating you. I hope you guys have celebrated because that's a really big deal. You guys, congratulations to all the coaches on the volume leaderboard. This is huge. The 500 Club for the week, Allie, Jody, Audra, Melissa, and Alyssa. Really great job. And so many of you guys in the 300 Club, and I know so many of you in the 100 and 200 Club working your way towards becoming a 500 PV coach for the month. Huge props to you guys. I hope you're super proud of yourself. I'm super proud of you. Let's go ahead and kick this thing off. Quick housekeeping. Remember, you guys, oops, sorry, wrong thing. Remember, you guys, your organization, we need you to share your rank advancements every single week in the coach family so that your coaches get some love in the DU Love Fest, okay? So that they get that recognition that they deserve. It's super. Hey guys, can you hear me? Sorry, everybody. Quick test, quick test. Okay, perfect. Quick test. Can you hear me okay? Sorry, I know it's weird. Okay, good. Sorry. Okay, so I'm super excited for each one of you who advanced your business. really big props. Don't forget to share your organization's advancements in the DU Love Fest graphic that's in the Coach Family page every single week so that we can give that public recognition that is so well deserved. Lots of movement going on and momentum being built, and I really want to make sure that as a team family, we get to celebrate each one of you. So really great job. That leaderboard is so awesome. Huge props to every coach that's in the 500 club, the 300 club, and I know there are so many of you in the 100 and 200 club working your way towards becoming a 500 PB coach for the month. So really big congrats to you. December is such a busy month. Before I turn it over to Alyssa, I just have a couple quick little housekeeping items that I want to make sure that you guys are aware of. I'm going live in the Coach Family team page tomorrow night, which is Friday evening, about 8:30 p.m. Eastern time, to give you an 80-day obsession pre-launch tutorial. Ashley Brockington made some amazing graphics showing all the bundles, like all the bundles that are available for 80-day obsession. So I want to make sure that each one of you, each one of us, is completely aware of what there is to take part in, what's offered, what our challengers can take part in. So I'm going to lay it all out. I'm going to give you my tips on a launch. I'm going to give you my tips on just my experience being a test group member, losing 19 pounds. I'm going to give you some tips on just how to leverage this and how to use this as a momentum builder going into the new year. So I hope you'll join me live. If you have something going on a Friday night, you can listen to the recording, but I will be in that page for you guys tomorrow evening. Let's see what else is going on. The new office, the new website is launching for the US on December 11th. So that's coming up. Really what you need to know, what you need to be doing in your behind the scenes work, your business hours, is you need to be getting familiar with 80-Day Obsession. So they will be releasing some PDFs about the program. You can learn all about it. I'm sure there's a lot of training already out there within the Beachbody Champions page. Autumn is going to come on and do a call for us as a Dynasty United Coach family before we sort of get going with the big launch. So make sure that you guys are plugged into the team page. Make sure that you are staying connected so that you don't miss opportunities like that. Hearing from Autumn, hearing from me from the test group, getting some tips on how to launch, and just kind of banding together. Okay, so let me cross over and share our speaker for tonight. I'm so excited, you guys. I wanted to give her as much time as possible. So that's why I'm going super fast, and I'm going to share more announcements within the team page because I really want you guys to have as much time with Alyssa tonight as possible. Her topic is how to make challenge groups great. And I can't think of a better coach than her to share on this topic because, you guys, she hasn't even been a coach for a full year yet. She is, to me, she is someone who is a master at challenge groups. She's a master at connecting with people. And she'll share how she's doing that both virtually and then also in person. She is a 2-star qualifying coach. Again, she hasn't even been a coach for a year yet. She's going to be a Success Club All-Star in just a couple of days, you know, when she hits her 1-year anniversary. She is a positive light. I had the honor of just sort of spending a very short amount of time with her at Leadership. She was Ali Tessitore's guest. She's Ali's coach, and Ali, I know, couldn't be more proud of you, Alyssa. So I'm super pumped about tonight. I've got my notebook out. I'm super excited to hear from you. Thank you so much for your willingness to share. I got a preview of what tonight is all about, and you're not going to want to miss this. You guys are going to want to have your notepad out as you're brainstorming new ways to serve our customers and our challengers in the new year. This is going to be a very valuable call for you. So Alyssa, I'm going to turn it right back over to you, girl, and I am going to get your slides all lined up for you here.
Can you see me?
Yes, you're
okay.
good.
You can hear me, okay?
Yep, you're good.
Okay, I'm super excited to be here tonight, you guys, and just share a little bit with you about my challenge groups and about what I've found to be successful over the last year. And like Brittany said, I'm still really kind of a new coach. I hit my 1-year mark next Friday. So this is really kind of special and a full circle moment for me to be able to be on here tonight and share with you kind of what works, what doesn't work, and give you some tools and tricks that I use in my groups. Okay. So last year, when I started in December the 15th, I had this really grand vision for what my community and my challenge group was going to look like. And I think that's really important to have that vision, but it's also very hard because that is not where we start out. You know, that's not where anyone starts out. Everyone starts out at square one at the bottom. And in order to get to that grand vision, you really have to take baby steps to get there. And you know what? That is okay. It's important as you're starting in a challenge group or gaining momentum in a challenge group to not compare yourself to advanced coaches. I know when I started, I would look at these advanced coaches and think, oh my gosh, they're amazing. I don't feel like I could do that. They're super successful. They must have some kind of marketing background or something, right? And, you know, regardless of the background of the coach, everybody starts at square one. Everybody starts at the bottom. And so I want to encourage you as you're starting your journey, as you're gaining momentum in your challenge group, to put the comparison out of your head. And because it really doesn't allow you to celebrate the baby steps that you're making, it kind of steals the joy from the progress that you're going to be creating in your community and in your challenge group. So just like you would recommend for somebody that is doing a health and fitness journey to be gentle with themselves as they're starting their journey, you're going to use those same tools in your business. And you're going to really learn as you grow. The only way to get better at something is just to like go and do it, to like jump in, try it. And my personality is I want to sit down and do everything all at one time, like everything all at one time. But the thing is, you cannot do everything at one time. So you really have to like back up and be okay with the unknown and the uncomfortable space of being a beginner, and just know that that is okay and that is normal. When you start making the commitment and trusting the process is really important. Last year when I started, I had zero idea what kind of wild ride I was going to be signing up for. I had no idea what type of obstacles I would be coming across. But I decided that I was just going to do it and not really compare my growth to somebody else's growth. And I was just going to do the best I could and see where I would be in like a year, 2 years, 3 years down the road. Because the truth is, obstacles are always going to be there. They're always going to be there. You know what? They happen. They're a part of every single journey. And when you hit those hard points, it's important to be reflective, to reach out, because truthfully, we have amazing people on our team that are more than willing to help you through those hard times. It's important for you to ask questions. And it's also, you know, you can be willing to like change ideas, to try new things and see what works. As the last year, I can tell you my best ideas have come out of kind of like the worst times. The sky is not the limit. Your imagination is. I love that quote because it's so true. The thing is, you guys, there is no right way to do our business. There's no right way, which is amazing because it allows for creative freedom. It allows you to be able to work your business in a way that feels authentic to you, to fit it in your schedule and your lifestyle. And so when there's no right way to do your business, sometimes that can be very overwhelming. So you need some kind of steps to get going. So how do you start? The first thing I would recommend is that you look at your models. That could be your upline coach or other successful coaches. But then you want to think logistically on how you want to run things and know that it could be different than how your models run things, and that's okay. You want to think about your niche and your market and your community and kind of what works best for you. Sometimes that will be, for me, you know, events that might interest them more, time frames of groups, or anything else that's going to fit in and be good for my niche and my market. You're going to want to start with the basics and then add on. Like I said, my personality is to want to like do everything at once, but you don't want to do that. You want to start simple because simple is maintainable. And then you want to add a little bit of sprinkles and interest and extras as you go. Once you find things that are really interesting and do well in your group, you're going to want to save those ideas and you can always reuse and recycle your material. Always reuse and recycle the material. Save the good stuff. And don't be scared to try new things often. Truthfully, sometimes my ideas work and sometimes they don't, you know. I'm going to tell you a little bit about how I run my groups. I've seen groups run all different types of ways. I've heard of 10-day groups, actually. I've heard of I know a lot of Beachbody coaches do the prep week group at the beginning of the month and then 3 weeks into the month, and then the same thing. My groups are a little bit different because I have a personal training background. So I had to figure out, I have some of my ladies do weightlifting programs and some do Beachbody. And so I had to figure out a way to kind of make that work for me and what I was already doing, which is the great thing about what we do. So my groups are continuous, and my main group is called the Strong Mama Fit Squad, and it runs every day, every month, and we've been going for almost a year now. And the preparation week group, instead of having it in that continuous group, it's actually on a separate page, so a separate Facebook group. I have everything post-planned out in that group, and it starts the first week of the month, just like almost everybody else does it. But once they graduate from that preparation week group, I then move them over to the regular page, the Strong Mama Fit Squad page. So I actually don't recycle a lot of my posts month to month. Everything's different. We have what I call daily dues, and those can change month to month. Sometimes I keep them the same. Right now, Monday is like a motivation day. Tuesday is like a real talk Tuesday, and I get on there and do a live video of something that kind of is important. This week we did like a live video on how to make it through Christmas parties successfully. Wednesday is a recipe share. Thursday we talk about self-love. And Friday, Saturday, and Sunday are all post-planned and automated posts. They're like shout-out days, prep days, and success days where we talk about what their successes were during the week. So in my team, how I started was we all kind of did our own groups. I had my group and they had their group. But as I've grown and we've grown as a team, that doesn't really work anymore for us. So what we do now is we all really work together. So my team, I would say that we're kind of experts in our own area. And we work together and we contribute to the group, which allows, honestly, more connection between the coaches and the customers. And you know, some of my customers truthfully relate a lot to some of my other coaches. And so really it's a win-win because you're bringing more value to your customers. And I'm creating a more of a engaging space for everybody. I have one of my coaches actually runs a mirror group in Spanish. So she does the same thing, but in Spanish. But for the most part, all of our clients are in one group. Start small and be okay with it. Okay, I have a good story for this one. So like I said in the beginning, we have this grand vision, but you aren't there yet. You have to be really gentle with yourself and you have to be okay with where you are. You have to use it as fuel, but keep that grand vision in your mind, but know that nobody starts at the summit, that everybody has the journey. And that's okay, and you have to be gentle with yourself as you're going through those phases of learning and growth. I'm gonna share this picture. If you look up at the top, the picture at the top, it says Mom on the Move Meetup. This is actually, I have to pull this out. I had to go back on Facebook and pull this out. This was my second meetup ever after starting Beachbody. And this is really important because this was kind of a pivotal moment for me. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about me. Events actually terrify me in a very serious way. They terrify me because, truthfully, I have this fear that nobody is going to show up. And that is just not a good feeling. But at the same time, I know those events are really important to what I'm trying to establish and do. So at this time, I had this event. I put it on Facebook. I invited so many people. I was really excited and, brought my kids. All the kids were welcome. And we went to the park And nobody showed up. Nobody showed up. And it was not a good feeling at all. It was hard. It was a hard moment. But I think, you know, in those hard moments, we have to make decisions. You can either quit or you can use it as fuel to the fire. And as I was standing there in the park with my kids, like bummed and upset and hurt that, you know, you put all this effort in and nobody shows up, it feels like nobody cares, or whatever those words are for you, there was a quote from a book I was reading, and it said that, it's a John Acuff book if you haven't read it. It said, greatness shows up for 3 or 3,000. So in those moments, you know, I had to decide, it didn't matter how many people showed up. It doesn't matter. And I'm just going to try to do the best I can anyway, regardless. And the truth is, I didn't have enough momentum in my group yet and consistency to really establish that growing, engaged community. And that's normal. That's okay. Eventually, all that stuff adds up. So if you're going through these moments and you put yourself out there and you have these events and you're worried like I was that nobody's going to show up, I promise you there are other people that have been through this. You know, you just have to keep going and keep being consistent, and it just gets better and better. Expand local. It's worth it. It's totally worth it. And I'm going to tell you why. Why am I talking so much about local? Because truthfully, you guys, my local community and my online community are very intertwined. They feed off of each other. They create momentum together, and they are so important for several reasons. Local communities allow for more online growth through like hands-on events in your local area. And really, it adds more fun to the group. It allows you to get in front of more people. And the more people see you, they know you, they love you, they want to be a part of, you know, who you are and what you're doing. The local events allow for what I like to call picture-worthy moments. And pictures are so important, which seems silly because we do online groups and everything's online, but pictures are really the visual representations of what our online community actually is. It's really hard to put a visual into our, like what we're about, what your challenge groups are about. So when you have these local events and you take pictures, it allows people to visually see what your community is about, and they can identify, you know, if it's for them, if they like you, if they like your group, which truthfully translates into more customers and more income for you. It also adds a ton more value to your existing groups and more retention. It increases the value to your challengers through additional offerings and also allows for more retention and more engagement. And once you start getting those groups going, it starts bringing in more customers like wildfire. I promise. Okay, so I'm gonna go over some of the ideas that I've used over this past year. And before I go through this slide really quick, I'm just gonna explain. Sometimes I do free for client, paid for outside guest type events. And sometimes I do free for everybody. And there's a couple reasons why I do that. When I do it free for everybody, and right now I don't do it all the time. I kind of mix and match. It depends on the event. But when I do it free for everybody, truthfully, it's great because it opens it up for people who may be on the fence, and it allows me to have more one-on-one contact with them, because I want to get in front of people's face more. When they meet me, when they see me, like they just feel more a part of the group, and then they're in. The other thing that I do is free for clients and paid for outside guests. And there's a couple reasons I do that. I like to do it free for clients, paid for outside guests because, well, because I'm making a little bit of extra money on the side, but also it adds more value to my current clients when they're like, oh, well, that's a paid you know, that's a paid event and I get it for free for being a part of the group, you know? So it's really a win-win. They love it because they don't have to pay for it and it adds more value, but it's also creating more income for me on the side. And it's allowing me to bring in, you know, additional people that may be interested in a topic to get to know me, to see me in person, to take a class, whatever that might be, so that I can get them hooked into my challenge group and my community that way. You just have to be creative in these events. You don't have to be certified. You just have to be creative. Okay, so let me talk about these events. So these are some things that I've done. I've done neighborhood moms groups. I've done an insanity cert. And if you haven't done any of the Beachbody certifications, I would totally recommend it. They're really easy. They're affordable. And if you're not experienced at group fitness classes, they make it really easy. You leave with a good structure and you know what to do. I've done boot camp classes. I've done gym workout buddies. So sometimes I'll schedule a day for my local people to go to the gym together. Or I'll have like some of the girls go to the same gym. So I'll say, okay, Leanna and Lisa go to the gym at this time. And, you know, 2 other people go to the gym at this time or whatever that might be. You could do the same thing for Beachbody workouts if they want to work out at their house together, whatever that might be. I've done different fitness events. We've done like a big Red Rocks event, which was the big picture you saw at the beginning. We've done 5Ks together, lots of 5Ks. There's tons out in Colorado, and there's probably some in your area, and they're so fun and easy. I've done barbell class and barbell basics class. We've done tons of field trip Fridays, and boxing was one of the events we did for that. We did a lot of other type of field trips too. We've done hiking days. I partnered with a local counselor, and she came in and did a session on emotional eating for my girls. And it was at my house, and what I did was live Facebook stream it on my Strong Mama Fit Squad page for my out-of-staters. That was one of the ones I charged for outside guests. I do Workout Warrior Mondays. That's a freebie for everybody, and we do a little social hour afterwards with shakes or coffee. And those are Beachbody workouts, and they just come to my house. You don't need a giant space. You just need to open your home and have some friends over and create your community. I've done meal prep classes. I've done competition prep services. And I have that on there because that's kind of my wheelhouse. If that's not your thing, that's totally fine. You can do, you know, yoga or dance or something else. We've done running clubs, which are so easy. And I have one of my local coaches came with me, and we had a big group. I took the girls that wanted to train for the 5K, and she did long distance running, and so took the girls that were training for the marathon, and then we met up, we did pictures, there'd be music. So it was a really fun event. I've done macro one-on-one sessions and macro webinars too. So you don't need to be certified, like I said, to do these events. You just have to be creative. So find something that is your strength, and then you want to build upon what you love and then make that interesting. Here's some pictures of my girls. I had to pick and choose. This is kind of how my community looks right now. And the boxing one is down in the middle there. And I just love this group. Okay. Set expectations and speak them often. So this is going to be a little to-do for you guys, okay? So right now, I want you to write in the chat box 3 things that are important to your challenge group environment. 3 things that are important to your challenge group environment. And I want you to type it in the chat box. I'm going to look. Hopefully I hit the right button here. 3 things while you're writing, I'll tell you my 3 things. They're a safe space, encouraging, and I like to tell my girls that they, you know, give encouragement, but they get encouragement, so it's a 2-way street. And my 3rd thing is that it's a positive environment. I'm gonna give you a couple more seconds. I wanna see what they are. Oh, I love this. Oh, this is so good. I love this, you guys. This is awesome. Okay, this is great. I love this. Some are similar to mine and some are different. That's perfect. Okay, keep in mind when you're writing these things that our job as a coach is to set the environment for success and set the expectation for whatever is important to you. If yours are the same as mine, great. If they're different, fine. Whatever those expectations are, it's your job to set your space up for success. So how do you do that? Okay, I'm gonna give you some real tips here. This is how I do it. You have to speak your expectations often, like all the time, because the more you speak your expectations to your challengers, the more they're gonna be on the same page and the more your community is gonna grow in the way that you want to see it go. Okay, and you don't have to say, okay, these are my expectations in a really, 1, 2, 3 way. You can kind of work it in naturally to your live videos, to your post, whatever that might look like for you. For me, I say it a lot at the end of my post. Truthfully, people, I'm doing it on purpose. I don't know if they know I'm doing it on purpose, which is fine. That's kind of how I want it. But the end of my post, usually I always say something about the heart and the passion of the group is encouragement and positivity. And I love when I see you guys getting encouragement from each other and giving encouragement to each other. And that is why I love this group so, so much. So I say something like that quite often in all my live videos and my posts, so they hear it over and over and over again. I try to shout out the ladies that are participating in those ways. So when I see people participating in those ways, I want to recognize that because it's a pretty amazing thing when they're doing that. Truthfully, when I was in Vegas the other week, what was happening on the group was spectacular, and it just really made me so proud. People were starting threads, they were checking in on each other, they were holding each other accountable, and that is the type of environment I want for my group. Okay, this is one of my favorites. What do you do about those quiet followers? You guys know who I'm talking about. Usually they start out really gung-ho, right? And then they get silent. Once the group starts going, there's, no conversation, that they're watching your post, but they're not really saying anything. How do you handle that? Here's what I do. I like to gently suggest that they participate. And here's how I do it. I tag people in posts. I don't do it every single time, but when I notice the engagement is going down, I will go through my challenge group list and I will just start tagging people and asking questions. So, Susie, tell me how your food went today. Did you get all your portions in? Jenny, tell me did you get your cardio in and did you do your workout? Which workout did you do? Whatever you want to do, but it's gently suggesting, because you're asking a question in a positive way. They're saying, oh, okay, she actually wants me to answer this question, right? So you can tag and then you can ask questions to your quiet followers to encourage their participation, because the more they participate, the more they're gonna get out of the community, the more they're gonna feel connected, and the longer they're gonna stay. Okay, number 4, delete negative comments is what I do. So let's say you have your challenge group, and this is one thing I was really nervous about when I started. You're dealing with people with weight loss, and everybody has hard days, but a lot of times with weight loss, you can be having a lot of emotional things that are coming up and hard days, and sometimes that turns into people venting in a negative way on your space. Now, keep in mind, my 3 top expectations for my group were safe space, encouraging, and positive. So for me, this was a really big one. So what happens when somebody makes a negative comment? And there's a difference between asking a question and venting. So I just want to make that clear. Questions are always allowed. Venting what that turns into is one person vents and then another person vents because they want to make that person feel comfortable, and then another person vents. So it becomes this kind of negative snowball thing. And, you know, that is just not something I want in the space. So what I do with that is I actually delete the negative comments. I do. When I first started, I was very nervous about that because I didn't want to offend anybody. But remember, my responsibility as a coach is to the group as a whole to create the environment and the vision for the space. And, you know, that goes with the hard task too. So I delete the comment and then I message them privately in a nice, kind way and say something like, "Oh my gosh, Susie, I saw your comment. I'm so sorry you're having a bad day. Let's brainstorm some ideas to tackle your whatever it might be." You know, you don't have to be rude, but at the same point, they need to know this is not okay because here's my expectations of positive environment. And if you have a venting problem, you can message me privately and we can deal with that. So that's kind of how I handle those situations. Make it fun and get lifers. It's true. Fun is engagement. Engagement is growth in your community and retention. And retention is everything. You guys, we work so hard to get our customers in our groups and to get our groups rolling. So once you get those customers, you want to make sure that you keep them around. And as you're trying new things, as you're, you know, making your groups more fun and more engaging, just know that some things will work and some things won't, you know, and that's okay. But if people have fun and they get engaged in the group, it creates more of a relationship between the women, and then it makes them want to stay more. So that's so important. Okay, I'm gonna go over the next 2 slides are just things that I do. And remember, I've talked a lot about like my online community and my local community. And truthfully, for me, it's really hard to separate the two because they work off of each other, they go together, and they feed off of each other. But I'm gonna separate these ideas of my fun ideas for you because sometimes you might wanna focus in one area versus the other. So my online ideas for fun, my most recent one was a wacky sock exchange, which has actually been very popular. And this was posted last week. I have one of my coaches kind of taking this over and getting everybody's addresses. And I think we had like 35 people, 40 people that want to participate in this. It's not really fitness related, but it's fun and they get a little treat in the mail and they get to, you know, send something special to somebody else. We do an empowerment book club, and my empowerment book club is a separate Facebook page, actually. So I do a recipe swap page, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, and I do an empowerment book club, and they're both separate pages because I have a lot of moving parts in the group, and the truth is not every person wants to participate in everything, and that's okay. So let me tell you about the book club. So last month we did the You're a Badass book, and this month we're doing the new Brene Brown book, Braving the Wilderness. And what we're gonna do this month is, and this is new, we're having like a book club night because last month it was kind of a slow, what I would call a slow group. So we needed to revamp. So that happens a lot of times where you try something out and then you like kind of improve upon it, and that's okay. So this month we're doing what's called a Wine, Women, and Books night. And it's going to be an online Zoom book club where they're going to be, you know, saving their yellows for wine. And I haven't really figured out logistics. I'll have questions and make it fun that night, but just kind of something fun to establish community and personal development and fun in the group and engagement. We do live Zoom squad workouts, and every Saturday a different coach hosts that, and we do on-demand workouts for that. I'll do buddy Facebook threads, so accountability threads where I'll partner people up that may be good partners and good fits for each other, and then they keep each other accountable through the week. This one was really fun, and I've used it twice this year. This was a team challenge. Okay, so let me explain about this. This one was very popular. So what I do, it takes a little bit of pre-planning. I go through my list of girls. I ask who wants to participate first. Once I get the list of people who want to participate in the team challenge, what I do is I break them up into threes. You could do whatever number you want. I put them in separate Facebook threads, introduce them, and give them directions on like, hey, you need to create a team name and explain how the week's gonna work. So they're gonna check in every week, basically. Every day I have a poll at the top of the Facebook page that has whatever team name they picked out. One from last time was Island Booty. So they have a good time making the names and it's kind of fun. So they made their names, you know, I think I had 7 teams and they check in each day. So it'll say day 1 and there's a poll. It says Island Booty, Strong Mamas, whatever their team name is, and it goes down the list. If they were successful in their workouts, if they were successful in their food, if they were successful in their water, then they put a check next to their team name. Now, as each person is checking in, they get a point for their team. They can get up to 3 points per day. And the person in the team at the end of the week with the most points, they win. So it's kind of fun. These were some of my local ideas. We do a lot of field trips to different places. Like I said, sometimes they're fitness, sometimes they're non-fitness. I try to keep them kind of fitness related, but really the main thing is I just want it to be fun and engaging to establish more community within the women. We do mom get-togethers, kid play dates. We've done karaoke nights, which are so fun, such a blast. That one was really fun. Now, with that night, let me explain kind of like how I handle those things. I do a live video on how we're gonna be successful and you know what we're gonna order. Let's look at the menu beforehand. How can we eat for success when we go out? And set them up for success. So not only are they having a good time and being engaged, but they're also learning a skill set too. Now, it could be a fun meal, like if you want to just go out and have like a fun meal, that's fine too. But for that specific event, that's what I did. I've done palm reader events. We've done dinner and movie nights. And last week, we actually went to Bad Moms and dinner, so that's fun. We've done potlucks, which is really easy breezy. That's the top picture. Everybody kind of brought their kids and a dish, and we just kind of hung out and chatted. And one that I haven't tried, but I kind of would like to, is a prep together day. And how I would handle that is, you know, people sign up. They sign up for an item that they're going to bring. For however many people sign up for the prep day, everybody brings one thing for, you know, 6 people. And then those people come over and we portion out and share. And it's kind of like you're prepping, but you're prepping together and you only have to prepare, you know, maybe 1 or 2 different things. Tools for interest. Okay, so these are different things I use in my group. The first one I'm going to talk about is the hybrid workout scheduler. If you don't know what that is, it's hybridworkoutscheduler.net. And I love this tool so much because it allows you to create a semi-custom program, month-long program for your clients and for your challengers. You can go on there and I don't know if you can see it small print. It says Beachbody DVDs. You can pick every single program that you want for that person. You can also pick the days that you want them to work out. If you want single days, if you want under 30 minutes, over 30 minutes, double days, if you want a day off, and then you just click submit and it prints out this, makes this really interesting calendar. You can also pick beginner, intermediate, advanced too. So I use that every single month. So like I said, I have some ladies in the group that are doing weight training programs from me. But my Beachbody girls, they will either follow a specific, you know, Beachbody program to a T, or I will print this out for them and give them something to go off of. I use the Waterminder app for myself, and I also recommend it for the challengers. It's an app that goes on your phone and reminds you to drink water, which is one of my hardest areas. So I'm always appreciative of that. Habit Share is awesome. So let me explain kind of what that is about. Habit Share is an accountability app. And what it does is you have to set up habits in there first. So the habits that I have ladies set up are water, workouts, food. And then it has little dots for 7 days of the week on each habit. I can see their habits, they can see my habits, and they can see everybody else's habits. So we're all kind of friends on this habit share app. And if they're successful, then they will have a green check, they click green. If they aren't, then they will click a red. And then if they skip it for the day, they click, it's a line through, it makes it the circle black. But you can go in and check your daily consistency of your challengers through this habit share app. And it also is just something different that's not on Facebook, but allows them to kind of see how everybody else is doing too. The Google Doc on the left is in my recipe swap group, and it is an ongoing Google document that people are continuously adding to, and then I use it to share in the regular page. So it's a really good document. They're kind of adding and contributing to the recipes and helping with the main group too. Don't make it harder than it needs to be. Okay, so there's a lot of ideas tonight, and the thing is, when you're thinking about all these ideas, just know that there is only one you. You have to prioritize your time because you cannot do everything. So just know that these ideas are things that I've done over a year. You want to keep it simple in the beginning and then just add on a little new things as you go. So little things at a time, because truthfully, not only if you try to tackle everything at once, it's going to make you feel overwhelmed, but it's also going to make your challengers feel overwhelmed. So you want to do a little bit at a time to keep the interest going. Okay, so working together, you want to use your resources. There's so many good resources that you want to take advantage of. And truthfully, the benefit of working with a team. So you can look at the templates, you can look in the files, you can, Google stuff, look in your upline coach files, the online office business tools. Don't feel like you need to recreate the wheel. As your team is growing and as you're growing a team, things might change. When I started, like I said, we were all kind of doing our separate groups, and currently that isn't really what works for us. And we do a lot of work together because everybody's kind of good at different stuff, and we work in one group, and that really works for us. You want to always look for ways to make stuff easier for yourself, so it's less work down the road. And for me, that looks like automating posts two or three times a week. So I automate posts on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then I spend more time during the rest of the week making more natural, really more engaging posts and try to be more super active. Hearing no with a smile. This is one of my favorites because this is really hard for me. And I think it comes from this feeling of rejection. And no can be a hard word for us to swallow. The thing is, we work really hard. A lot of us work really hard to create these communities and these groups. And when you hear no, it is not a good feeling. But the thing is, you have to let people leave. And the thing is, when people leave, it could be for various reasons. Maybe it's just not their thing right then. Maybe it's like they're not feeling it. And that could be, it's just hard. It's hard to take in. But you want to let people leave your group, and you want to make sure they still feel valued, appreciated, and cared for. If they say no, you have to know, you have to be gracious and not internalize it, which is really hard to do. Really hard to do. Because, the thing is, if you're gracious and you let them leave, they always remember how you make them feel. They always remember how you make them feel. And they always come back. Truthfully, I have a lot of the ladies in my group that have been there the entire year. I don't get a lot of turnover, but I do get people that leave. And it's always hard to hear those words. But I also get a lot of people that come back too. So just know that people always remember how you make them feel. No is a really hard word to swallow for everybody, but just be gracious, make them feel cared about, and know that they are going to come back. Okay. So remember, as you're starting or getting the momentum of your challenge group, that mindset and motivation is the most important thing to growing and having a successful challenge group. You are going to have obstacles along the way and hard moments, but you have to take those as an opportunity to change, to grow, to improve, to brainstorm, and to try new things and kind of learn as you grow. So don't be scared to jump in and try new things. And remember that we have the opportunity to create something so unique and so powerful and so amazing, and we are just so lucky to be able to do that. So hopefully tonight you guys took some takeaways, some tools and tricks that you can use. I think we're right at 7:42. Let's see. If you guys, thanks, Brittany. If you guys had any questions, do we have time for questions, Brittany, or should I? Let's see. Did you guys have any questions? Oh, you guys are awesome. Thank you. Brittany, I'm not really sure how to stop it.
You're good. You guys, last chance. Do you guys have any oh, there's a question from another Brittany. Have you run any groups on the app or just Facebook? Oh, there's a couple questions coming in just in case you see some in the chat box.
Yeah, I see some. So I just do Facebook. I don't really use the My Challenge Tracker app at all. I don't use it. I actually just recommended it to some people, my new group today, because I'm having a lot of clients that want to see their results. So I'm using it as a way for them to kind of like keep track of their results. I have them do weigh-ins, but it sends it to a Google document, like a Google sheet for me. But it's so hard for me to make a graph for them on how their weight loss is coming. How much do I charge for my outside events? It depends on the event. Sometimes I charge 20 and sometimes I charge 40. How much time do I spend on my business daily? It really depends on the week. If I'm having a goal to spend, then I'll spend more time, and I can make it flexible. I like to have my mornings to myself, and then I kind of work in the afternoon when the kids go to school. Ashley, okay, how do I grow my local market in the first place? It's just consistency. That's it. I just do it over and over again, and then I make things consistent. So like every Monday we have Workout Warrior Mondays now, and I make it consistent. Sometimes I'll do calendar events. So in the summer I did a Summer of Strong events, and I did this huge calendar every month, and it had like 3 different things I was doing every week. And that worked really well. You have to advertise it, and you have to market it. I'm trying to see if there's any other questions on here. I think that may be it.
I think maybe just to dig into that local question a little bit more, are you finding that you're just doing a lot of one-on-one invitations, like the people you already know locally? Are you using like Facebook ads? Are you searching hashtags for local people? Like, how are you finding the people to invite to your local meetups in the first place also?
Yeah, that's a good question. So what I do is I have what I would call a holding pond on Facebook, and I call it my Mom on the Move community page. And as I'm signing people up, I put all the people that have been to any events, that might be interested in events, who I've talked to that are kind of on the fence. They go into my community page, And then so I use that as kind of an advertising page. So when I'm having events that I'm doing, like the emotional eating workshop, or the Monday workouts, I will post in that group regularly. Sometimes I post on my regular page too, but mainly I'll just post it on there. Yeah, the funnel, exactly. Yeah, I use it as a funnel. It's like a holding pond for potential clients. Any other questions?
Okay, Alyssa, you did amazing. If you could, I know I'm putting you on the spot here, but if you could give all, like 70 or so of us that attended live, and there's probably going to be another 100 that listen to the recording. If you could give us all just one challenge when it comes to like making your challenge groups great, what would you say? Like, what would be your call to action? What would you want people to be able to turn around and either tomorrow or Monday morning when they show up to their business, what could we implement? What could we do to sort of, revamp and really, really make some improvements in our challenge groups according to your experience? I know I put you on the spot.
Honestly, what I would say is to just start with one idea. And there's too many people that have these ideas and that they don't follow through. They're like, okay, this is a really good idea. I'm going to do this next month.
Yeah.
And it never happens. I think it's important to get an idea and put it on the calendar and just do it.
I love that.
If you have it on your calendar, then you're going to be able to follow through because there's a date, and then you can goal set on how you're going to get there. But if it's just this in space kind of idea, then it's never going to, there.
Yeah, I love that. That kind of falls in line with what Ashley Brockington taught us about creating a launch event, planning it out, and then you can sort of backtrack your planning, your inviting, your conversations. Okay, last question, and I'm going to let you go. Okay. What are you looking forward to in January? What are you looking forward to, whether it be your team or an event? What are you planning for? What are you excited for?
I'm so excited for my team. I love my team so much, and we are just going to kick butt this year. So I have 3 more weeks until my 2 start, so I'm really excited about. And then in January, I want to open up my second CBC and work on some elite goals for the next year. So I'm really excited.
Yay! Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Alyssa, again, for taking the time, for just pouring into this whole team family. I know your team absolutely loves and adores you. I know your sponsor and your friend, Ali Tessitore, is just so beaming with pride and so proud of you. She talks my ear off about you all the time, just how proud she is of you. And I just really appreciate you being willing to share with our whole team. I know I've got a whole page of notes of things to rebrand and just try and brainstorm. And I know so many other people were blowing up the chat, just talking about everything that you shared, and just your transparency is just very much so appreciated. You didn't have to share, but you did. And so we really, really appreciate it. So you guys, I'm going to remind you guys of the call to action she gave us. One idea to put it on the calendar. So you'll hear from me and the coach family challenging you with that. Don't forget, we've got 80-day obsession coming up. So maybe your one idea can have something to do with an 80-day obsession launch. Maybe it has something to do with Christmas. Maybe it has something to do with your team or the new year. I mean, let yourself dream and think and just be creative according to your strengths and the things that you love. So again, Alyssa, thank you so much. Have so much fun at your retreat. You guys are amazing. Thank your family for letting us borrow you. And you guys, we will see everybody next week. Have a good night, everybody. Bye.
Bye.